Well, we're back at the Spartan Boxing radio chat show or break, whichever one you want to pick. And it's Quarling, it's Joey, and it's Dave, and we're here to talk about boxing.
What's up, boys and girls?
What's going down?
We had just a weekend of fights that just passed with Jermall Charlo versus Brandon Adams, and also Boo Boo Andrade.
Demetrius Andrade.
Demetrius
Poo-poo.
Andrade, Poo Poo or Boo Boo, however you want to call him, versus
Maciej
Sulecki, who gave Danny Jacobs a good fight in his previous fight.
He did, and I was at that fight, and I didn't think Sulecki won, but he, for a nobody coming out of nowhere and also coming up from 154, he put on a good show.
He did all right.
Before we go into Charlo and counting, heads and views, let's talk about that fight, the Andrade fight. How did he look to you guys?
Go ahead, Joey.
I just watched it because I was away and I got back, and I just watched it maybe like 2 hours ago. He had some killer instinct that night. He went right for it. He dropped him in the first, a big overhand looping left. Hit him on the top of the head and dropped him. He was going for it in the first round. And there were other points in the fight where he did the same. Maybe 3 or 4 other spots in the fight or rounds where he went for it. And then there were rounds where he really showed off his footwork, his defense, bending at the waist, and a lot of head movement. He looked really slick and tricky. I didn't love all the looping punches, but I think I was texting you guys and telling you that he's got like a wide base. He keeps his feet spread apart, so even when he throws wild punches, he's still in balance, and his footwork is always ready to play defense as well as use it and create offense. I thought he looked really good. I thought he had a way easier time than Danny Jacobs did, and it was a pretty complete performance for me.
I don't even think he got touched in that fight.
He didn't get touched. Good defense. Great defense. Good transition from defense to offense. Like Joey said, the balance was superb.
Yep.
Footwork was good. I mean, he's a complete fighter. He doesn't have a lot of pop though. He doesn't have a lot of power. But all in all, that was a great performance.
He had enough power to put the guy down in the first round or the first
and
or second
you know what?
round,
They mentioned that, and they even said that in his last 3 fights, he's had 5 knockdowns, and then 20 seconds later, he knocked down Sulecki. So he's got pop.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to hurt Canelo or Golovkin, but he's got enough pop to get somebody's attention.
I don't like his inability to react and go and finish his guy. If you compare him to, say, a Crawford, who once he starts touching his guy, then he starts really putting a lot of pressure to get this guy out of there, and goes forward and starts punishing his guy. I think that's what he keeps lacking, and that's why a lot of there's a lot of critics that are voicing their displeasure with him. But as far as his skills, as far as his defensive abilities, his mobility, everything was. I mean, he pitched a shutout.
It looked pretty crisp to me.
Yeah, what can you say?
He looked great. Now, I will say this. Let's stop with bringing up guys, for instance, like Terrence Crawford. Those dudes are anomalies in the sport. My knock on Andrade is what he's done before this fight. Being relatively inactive.
No, that's not true either. This was his 3rd fight in 8 months.
Yeah,
no. And I'm talking about before that. And the thing is that pre-DAZN,
right. He wasn't fighting, and there's been plenty of guys like that. He looked, after seeing him for the first time or the first couple of times, he kind of like disappeared. And everybody like, what happened to him?
Yeah, exactly. See, and not only that, all of those fights, the fights he was supposed to fight, falling through. That's why I'm not a fan of Andrade like that, because it happens so many times. You can blame it on promotion and business deals and all that, but at a certain point, it's going to be you.
All right,
the fighter is going to be responsible.
But last year, when he got the WBO strap, he got it because it was vacated by a fight that he had set up with Billy Joe Saunders, which would have been a good fight.
Right.
And Saunders fucked up.
Can't fault him for that one. Can't fault him for that that fight. Yeah, that's Billy Joe Saunders.
Can't fault him for that. That's exactly
I've seen Luis Ortiz get a lot of shit when he fucked up and ruined the fight the first time with him and Wilder. And nobody bashed. At least I didn't bash Wilder. That wasn't his fault. He tried to make the fight.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, you're exactly right. But the thing is, even the Luis Ortiz situation isn't as bad as what Andrade's been going through and been putting fans through his whole career.
I think he looked good. I think that he would have benefited by putting pressure on Sulecki and getting him out of there, because that's what really they were looking for from his promoter and the zone in general, and the critics also were looking to see if he was going to surge up, but overall his performance was fantastic. Overall his performance was better than Jermall Charlo's.
Now let's talk about Charlo and Adams.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Corley. That's your boy.
Go ahead. You started.
You know what that is? That is my boy. Let me go ahead and start with Charlo and Adams.
Go ahead.
Honestly, I know y'all are gonna disagree. That was a good fight. That was a good fight. Look, but you know why though?
I won't even let you get to the second sentence. That fight sucked.
Brandon Adams was a tricky opponent with a tricky style. He was in there trying to survive. You see him going into survival mode. But if you looked at him, if you looked at the fight night weight, even though Jermall Charlo, as the plane flies over your career, Jermall Charlo,
that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a big one. That's a 757.
There you go. So Jermall Charlo was taller, of course bigger, but Brandon Adams was actually heavier. He was smaller, as in stocky, short, low to the ground, kind of giving you like that little Sean Porter type of look, to where he's getting low, making people miss. Look, man, that was a good fight. Tricky style. You can't get everybody.
He was going low because he figured the only offense he could muster was this lunging jab to the body, because he couldn't go upstairs. He had no answer, and it was a waste of time, that fight.
But see, the thing is, though, is that he had no answer because he had a monster in front of him in that boy Jermall Charlo. That's the reason why. Charlo isn't as basic as what other people are saying. He said he hurt his hand in the second round. I believe him, because he abandoned the jab completely in the middle rounds. Completely.
Did you notice how much time he spent on the ropes?
Who?
Charlo.
Jermall Charlo?
Yes.
Like I said, tricky style.
Quite a bit of time on the ropes. Why is he on the ropes? Why? Let me ask this. Let me wait. Give me a second. When Golovkin fought David Lemieux, who would use the same style that Adams was using, because he's got short arms, he has to get inside. What did Golovkin do? He jabbed the hell out of Lemieux. So that's what Charlo, who is taller and has greater length, that's what he should have done. Instead, he was letting Adams come in on him and putting him on the ropes. Why is he pinned on the ropes? Why is he laying on the ropes, getting caught and putting himself in a position where Adams can come in? I think it's because his conditioning is not there.
See, now I beg to differ, because I didn't see any fatigue in him.
I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to agree with Corley. If that was the case, it may be because he couldn't use the left hand. If it was in fact injured, he couldn't jab to keep him off.
He couldn't.
No.
Hey, he said Jermall Charlo is a jabber. He really does. He jabs, throws a beautiful 1-2. He throws a lot of jabs per fight. But I'm not seeing him, quote unquote, like, somebody like Canelo languishing on the ropes because he doesn't have stamina. If you see, he finished strong. The punches weren't out of place. It's not like he got wild. The base was always there. His legs were there. I didn't see him running out of stamina. I saw him with great stamina. As a matter of fact, both guys displayed good stamina. I thought it was a good fight all in all. I know you're going to trash the opponent. That's fine. But Brandon Adams was tricky. It was a very tricky style. And for somebody who's saying that Charlo isn't as active, you need the rounds. And he got the rounds. I'm glad he didn't go in there and blow him away in 3 rounds. I'm glad he did. That's good. That's good. It was good for Andrade, too. Get the rounds in. It's better for the fighter. Maybe not as good for the fans. Maybe not as good for the networks and the people who are backing him. But it's good for the fighter.
But here's why it looks good for Andrade. He fought an opponent who gave another top middleweight a lot of problems.
Right. Which still means nothing.
And
you're right.
now he's a few fights into being a middleweight. When he came up to fight Jacobs, it was his first time at 150, and he did good.
Right.
Well, the bottom line is that Andrade looked better than Charlo. Period.
Andrade, I thought they looked the same. I thought they looked the same. Now, as far as the completeness of the game, look, Andrade has always been good. Ever since he was at 154, he's always been good. Highly touted amateur, all of that, he's always been good. But the thing is, though, is that I think Jermall Charlo has made some leaps and some strides, too, that people are undermining. But, I mean, it is what it is, though. We got to see.
Not undermining it, just, the eye test basically showed me that it was very basic, and it wasn't anything special.
Yep. Yeah, maybe, perhaps, but I don't know. I think both are really good fighters.
If you were to ask me right now between a fight between Charlo and Andrade, I'd pick Andrade by unanimous decision.
Yeah, that'd be rough. That'd be rough. I mean, I don't know.
Charlo would have to knock him out.
I see, and maybe that was that. It's kind of like the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, to where we're picking Wilder by knockout, but if it goes to decision, then you already know that Fury's gonna win. That's probably the same way that I'm thinking about Charlo and Andrade. But there is one thing. I always say this: Andrade's a weird dude, man. Kind of quirky. I question his heart, man. I really do question his heart. If he gets hit,
I would want to see him get pushed.
If he's in a firefight, exactly. What does he have for you then? If he's in a firefight, look, you already know what Jermall Charlo brings. You already know it. He's not going to fold in one. He's not. He has killer instinct. That's just what it is.
I haven't seen him push either, so I don't know how you determine that.
It's just an attitude thing, man. I'm just looking at the way that they're carrying themselves.
Hashtag Texas.
Hey, man, hashtag Texas. You can say what you want to say with it. But at the same time, I'm just looking at them, looking at the men themselves. I don't know. Andrade's kind of a weird dude, man. He's out there. I can see him retiring tomorrow and doing some Keith Thurman type stuff. Getting married and playing the flute in the Himalayas, man.
I see him in a VW bug with, or a VW van with flowers on the side of the van, and the surfboards on top.
But really nice rims.
And the puka on his neck.
On his way to Woodstock, man. Yeah. That's that dude.
And some bongos or something.
Right. The dude's weird, man.
He's
weird.
All right, so let's all right, he's weird, big deal.
He's weird, but but he's got charisma. You can't take that away from me. He's got more charisma than a lot of guys out there.
You put a lot of stock in hard call-outs. He's been yelling and screaming about Canelo and Golovkin. He does have the belt in the division. He wants.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Mano, you know what? He said it in the post-fight interview.
If that's the case,
mano a mano.
I heard nothing out of Jermall Charlo.
Cojones for cojones. That's what Andrade said about Canelo and Golovkin both. He called them straight out. Canelo and Golovkin, let's go. Mano a mano, cojones for cojones.
It's easy to say for him.
He might have.
I gotta see what he does.
It's easy to say for Charlo too. Why isn't he saying it?
Hey, no, he has said.
Just apply that. Just apply. No, not like that.
Not like that.
Okay, you're right. Not as menacing. That's fine. That's fine.
And look, I guess Canelo's starting to consider Andrade. So that may be what needed to happen.
And maybe everything that Boo Boo just did, maybe it worked because there was a report a little while ago. I posted it in Facebook. I think he got Canelo's attention.
It only makes sense.
Considering, they were talking about Kovalev for Canelo, they were talking about Golovkin third fight, and then they were talking about, Callum Smith. We're talking about 3 different weight classes. Nothing new for Canelo. Usually, he will normally take top opposition, like 3 of his last 4 fights, 2 against Golovkin, 1 against Jacob.
But it also said that it could be a possible fight with Jaime Munguia too.
Yeah, I did see that too.
I don't believe.
I don't like that. I don't like that fight for
dudes.
Golovkin or Canelo.
I don't see Callum Smith
trash.
as an opponent. Callum Smith is not your normal 168 pounder. This guy comes in at like 190 in the ring. Right. This guy is huge.
Not a pushover at all.
All right, so what's going to happen if he went all the way up to 75 to fight Kovalev? Kovalev will be an easy 185.
Yeah,
easy. Yeah. And be much bigger than Canelo.
Right. They'll probably put some restrictions in weight.
He's already going to be about I think 4 or 5 inches taller. Callum Smith will be at least 7 inches taller.
You know what's going to happen though. If it's either Callum Smith or if it's Sergey Kovalev, it's going to be a rehydration clause, or it's going to be some bullshit weigh-in in the weight clause. No, it's no maybe. I mean, like, that's really what it's going to be. This dude, man, franchise belt, man. That's all I have to say.
The only thing, the reason I don't want either one of those fights is because I don't want this built-in excuse, like when Mikey lost to Spence. Well, he came up 2 weight classes. He took a challenge. He lost. Whatever. No. I don't want that built-in excuse. You go up there to fight him, be ready to fight him, and be ready to lose if you lose.
Right. I agree.
About that franchise belt.
He's taking a challenge.
What do you guys think about those franchise belts?
I told you. I hate it because it means that it's no rules that keep you in check. You're not bound by anything. You have no obligations.
Well, keep this in mind.
What's the franchise belt?
So what do you guys think about the WBC thinking of making Deontay Wilder their franchise heavyweight champion?
If there's these rules that come with that, or luxuries that's come with that, let's say Deontay Wilder can't bounce around weight divisions like Canelo can. So if he wanted to go up to 68 or 75 or maybe even back down to 154, Canelo has options. It doesn't limit him as much. I don't like it at all. But what is Wilder?
If we're going to use a narrative that the reason why Canelo is the franchise champion is because that way they can't put Jermall Charlo as mandatory, then we're going to have to use the same narrative for Wilder, because really it should be Dillian White who should be his mandatory right now. So if they move him up to franchise champion, then it doesn't matter where Dillian White is. He doesn't have to take a mandatory fight. So he doesn't have to fight Dillian White.
The thing is, though, is he dropping the WBC belt, though, as well? Like Canelo did? Because that's how Jermall Charlo got elevated to the champion.
They would automatically elevate him to that's the WBC. That's the decision of the WBC, not Deontay Wilder.
Right.
So they would just automatically elevate him to franchise champion and automatically elevate somebody or leave the belt vacant. And right now, Dillian White is fighting the Cuban guy, or I think he's Cuban.
Talking about Oscar Rivas.
Oscar Rivas. It's an eliminator fight.
Let me ask this.
So eliminator for what? Eliminator to become the mandatory, and then the mandatory he can't really move forward because now the champion is now no longer required to take a mandatory fight.
Well, see, the thing is, this is one of the problems I have with it. So let's go back to Canelo, right? Say Canelo fights and beats Demetrius Andrade.
Sure.
Is he the undisputed middleweight champ?
Technically, he should be.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? He's not the champion, though. And that's where I would have a problem. Like, if Deontay Wilder did it, is he, and say it's the same thing as Canelo. He
are you saying Jermall Charlo
Sophia, as he calls it.
Are you selling Jermall Charlo as the champion?
I'm saying that he's technically the champion.
Well, technically on paper, but he really didn't earn the belt.
The champion in my eyes? No.
He didn't earn the belt.
Right.
Not his fault. It wasn't his fault. He just arbitrarily got elevated to champion.
But I mean, it's a lot of these things happen in boxing. Like Vladimir Klitschko, he shouldn't have had the WBA belt when he went and fought Anthony Joshua. That belt was vacant and it was given. At the time, Anthony Joshua was only the IBF champ after he beat Charles Martin. I mean, and I think that Vlad was the WBO champion only. That WBA came in there and he basically picked it up off the floor, and they awarded Vladimir Klitschko with that, or they fought for the vacant WBA championship or something like that. So that's why I'm saying it's so many of these instances in boxing to where, okay, this person isn't technically the champion. They didn't earn it. They didn't do this. People win vacant titles all the time, So that's why I'm saying this is why I ask about these rules. If there's no rules in place, it's too arbitrary for me. I mean, it's already enough arbitrary crap happening in boxing anyway. But now you have this franchise belt, and you have no mandatories, you have no this, no that. Like who's to say Terrence Crawford? He was the undisputed champ at 140. He's done everything that he's supposed to do with fighting mandatories and doing all this. Why shouldn't he be a franchise champion? And these dudes have earned way more than Canelo has.
That's because
way more than Deontay Wilder
Crawford
has.
doesn't have Crawford doesn't have the WBC belt, so he can't be their franchise champion if he doesn't have the WBC belt.
Yeah, I mean he has the WBO belt.
So,
let's go back though. Let's go back for him. What would you want for Charlo if he couldn't get Canelo or Golovkin?
I mean, the only one that would make logical sense is Andrade, but I would love to see this dude beat like David Lemieux's head in, or Rob Brandt, Murata. It's dudes out there. I guess
I think forget about Lemieux. Brandt, Murata. I guess I'm okay with that.
Andrade is the one that makes sense. 100%. Andrade is the one that makes sense because that's a unification fight.
Don't forget Billy Joe Saunders. I know he went up to 168, but he would come back down.
Yeah, right? He's fat. The thing is, look, man, that dude's fat and he's a drug cheat because I know that he's missed weight multiple times and he's a drug cheat. I'm not counting him, even though it would be a good fight, all things considered, in a perfect world. But nah. I'm not looking for that dude like that. That dude has to do certain stuff in order to get back.
If you got option A, B, C, D, or E, and you're not including Canelo or Golovkin, then he's on that list. He's there.
If he can still make 160, and if he can stay off of the quote unquote nasal spray, then yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that fight. But I mean I just don't.
Why wouldn't you say? Why can't Charlo fight Danny Jacobs?
Charlo can fight Danny Jacobs too. That's a fight that I really want. That's one that I really want.
That would have juice behind it because of that, that little meetup in the hallway, with the Barclays. That would have some juice behind
it. Yeah, that confrontation where Danny Jacobs tried to show up in a silk suit, trying to sun Jermall Charlo, and Jermall Charlo stayed calm right in his face, but all of y'all said he got checked. Yes, that confrontation.
Jermall got checked, man. Come on. Jermall got checked. As soon as he saw him, he shut his mouth, and he did not say a goddamn thing. After all the shit he talked right before. Even his own boy, his own boy that was with him was talking more shit over there. He was going to get his ass kicked, but he was talking more shit than Maul was talking because he knew.
And Jermall was.
All right, so check this out. This is why I say he didn't get checked, because he said calmly these simple words. He said, you know what? Well, why don't we do this? I'll cancel my opponent, you cancel your opponent, and we can fight. And you know what Danny Jacobs started talking about after that?
Money.
I'm sitting on M's.
Money.
He's talking about money.
That's true.
So look, if you're talking about money, when dudes are in your face calling you out, talking about let's fight, you don't want to fight, dog. You don't want that fight.
Okay, so
you don't want it.
So here we are.
That's not.
Here's the middleweight division. Saul Alvarez is probably, my guess, is going to fight Andrade. I think they're going to pick Andrade because it only makes sense to continue the line of the story for him to get that last belt and then go into a Golovkin fight. So Saul Alvarez and Andrade are out of the picture for me for Charlo. Golovkin just fought, so Who he's going to fight next, I don't know. Danny Jacobs is also a possibility for Charlo. Golovkin and Jacobs are a possibility. David Lemieux, I don't see that happening because I don't see Golden Boy.
He's washed. He's washed.
Yeah. Rob Brandt
and
Murata are fighting each other. So that's not going to happen. Those two are out of there. Sulecki just got his ass kicked. That doesn't leave very many people. It does not leave very many people for Charlo to fight. And I'm looking at the list of fighters over here. Who's he going to fight next? Luis Arias? Didn't he fight him already? Hugo Centeno.
No. That's unacceptable.
Jeff Horn.
Yeah. Unacceptable.
And in order for him to fight Golovkin or to fight Jacobs, he's going to have to come over to the zone. He's going to have to do it because they both have contracts.
One fight deal.
That's fine. One fight deal. That's fine.
One fight deal.
Do one fight deal.
One fight deal.
Do it.
Okay. I'm for that. Now we can do that. If it is a one fight deal, not this BS where Eddie Hearn is going to be like, well, I'll give you more money that you've ever gotten. 3 fights. No.
Eddie Hearn's not stupid. I mean, he wants to secure some fighters for the zone, but he's also a realist, and he has to produce good fights in the zone. So even if it's just a one fight deal, he has to put up good fights because that's what they're measuring. They're measuring on attracting people to the application and having them sign up. So if there's a good fight,
that's exactly right.
I think Canelo's going to take Andrade. I don't think so. I think Golovkin is going to take Munguia.
Right. That leaves Jacobs, and that would be a great fight.
I don't think so.
And then one of them two can try to get Jacobs or try to get Billy Joe Saunders to come back to 160.
Honestly, I think Saunders beats a lot of these guys, including Charlo. And
when is the Rob Brandt Murata fight?
But I don't want to see him fight. It's this month. I don't know exactly what date.
Okay, so that's look. They basically fought a month apart. They can do something in October or November. That's fine. You can do something. You don't have to count out Murata or Brandt. You don't. They're in the conversation now because they're fighting so close to when Maul just fought and when Golovkin just fought and when Andrade just fought.
Right. What I'm hoping that they're not gonna try and do is like dig up Willie Monroe again and be like, hey, I'm going there with Jermall.
But if it's Rob Brandt,
these fights are starting to become really unacceptable.
If it's Brandt or Murata,
and I'll be the first one to say, Golovkin and Munguia is unacceptable.
You know what? Right. I'm gonna tell you. I think that Canelo's fighting Munguia. I think it's gonna be Jaime Munguia, man, and that is going to be the trashiest of trash.
I won't watch it.
Events that have ever trashed. I can't. That's what it's gonna be,
and that's unacceptable.
And if it's Triple G and Munguia, then that's Triple G's MO.
Yeah,
that is his MO.
You want to fight 4 times a year, and one of them's Munguia. Fine,
right?
But not when you're fighting twice a year. You're not on this fucking retirement schedule.
Well, that's why I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying though that it's gonna be and what is it gonna be in September?
Yep.
Is this Mexican Independence Day? It's going to be 2 Mexicans against each other, man. I can see it being Munguia.
But then again, if it's just going to be 2 fights a year,
I can't see it being Demetrius Andrade just because.
If they're just going to fight 2 times a year, then the same is going to have to apply to Jermall Charlo because he's only fought Brandon Adams so far this year. And if he fights again, he can't fight a that low level caliber opponent. He's got to fight somebody better than Adams. So if you're going to fight 2 times a year, then make him count. Because
you can't.
Well, he's going to have to go and get him. He's going to have to go and get him. He only fought twice last year. He fought Centeno and Korobov. And now this year, 6-7 months from his last fight, he fights Brandon Adams. So he needs to fight somebody with a pulse. So if we're gonna criticize boxers,
that's what I'm saying about Golovkin. If Golovkin fights Munguia, that's unacceptable, and he's on a $100 million deal for Canelo to fight him on 3 times more money than that, it's completely unacceptable too.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and apply that across the board. So if you're gonna fight 2 times a year, then you need to fight good quality. Exactly. You got to make them count. Exactly. So none of this Benavidez Amir Khan shit for, Terrence Crawford. I know it hurts, but let's apply it across the board. Let's do it.
Yeah, but
I know here come the
Canelo's in a position where he has the opposition.
So let's do some quid pro quo.
Yeah, and he also has that franchise tag.
So let's do some quid pro quo, because you know that Bob Arum is
where he can pick and choose.
Bob Arum is more than happy to lend the fighter out as long as he gets something in return. So if Bob Arum lends out a Rob Brandt or a Murata, because whoever the winner of that fight is, lends them out so that they can fight Charlo over at the PBC, wherever, Fox or Showtime, wherever it is they're going to fight, then these guys need to lend Bob somebody for Crawford, because if Crawford doesn't have anybody to fight, then he doesn't have anybody to fight. I mean, what can you do?
Give me Danny Jacobs. Give me Danny Garcia.
Yeah, give me Danny.
That was over
Garcia.
straight from Al Heyman.
Give me no, but you know what? The Amir Khan fight was a joke.
It was.
Benavidez actually fought well, but you know what? We knew it was going to happen,
right?
And we knew it was going to happen with Horn. We knew he was going to do that to Horn.
I didn't, but you're right.
Well, I didn't expect him to.
Amir Khan does largely what he wants to do. I don't even think
you knew he was going to win.
I don't even think that Amir Khan even.
Matter of fact, I picked a 9th round knockout, so I did know.
Yep.
I don't think Amir Khan even consults with Al Heyman, to be honest with you. He does. He's on his own, path, and he's on his own, little world, little dimension, where if he decides to fight somebody, he just goes and does it, and fuck everybody else. So
I agree.
So I can't really say that Al lent him Amir Khan, because Al didn't lend Amir Khan to Oscar De La Hoya. Amir Khan went over there and signed the fucking contract and didn't tell anybody. He's like, this was all after the fact news. It was like, I'm taking this fight and I don't give a shit about you guys. I'm going to make this money. And they had to abide by it. They had to go ahead and co-sign it.
He sent John Molina over to HBO for Terrence Crawford.
Come on, but these are guys. These are the guys. This is shit.
I don't know who
this
Bob
is shit you can throw on the wall, and if it sticks, great, and if it not, oh well, because they're expendable. This is expendable people. But just like Reese, just like Andy
Bob
Reese.
Doesn't even do that.
Or Brandt is technically expendable.
Bob is sending Jose Ramirez.
And they're a cut below the rest of the top.
Bob is sending Jose Ramirez.
Then you would have to say the same thing about Danny. You got to say the same thing about Danny Jacobs. I mean, Danny Garcia.
Yeah,
he's a cut below Spence. Yeah. He's a cut below the top guys in his division. That's a guy you should send over. So you know what? Go make a good showing for us and go over there.
But at the same time, Danny Garcia is a unified champ at 140. He's an ex-champ.
Okay.
He's an ex-champ at 147. Now I can make the argument that Danny Garcia has a better resume than any of the guys that we mentioned. Danny Garcia has a pretty stellar resume in terms of names. So I mean, it's not the same to me. Like sending Rob Brandt or Murata over, is it the same as sending Danny Garcia over? Even though his name doesn't have the cachet that it once
not a
did.
fair trade.
I
kind of agree.
Sending Jose Ramirez. Ramirez is a blue chip guy that Top Rank and Bob have been building and have been featuring in their cards as the main event for quite a while now, and they're sending him to the zone. In return for what? In return for Luke Campbell, so that they can get an opponent for Lomachenko. So he's giving out a good one of his top guys to get something in return. So he's willing to do it, but the offer has to come back. If the offer doesn't come back, he's not going to send anybody.
The thing is that okay, that sounds good on the surface, but Bob Arum tried to sue Al Heyman. Bob Arum took Al Heyman to court. Golden Boy took Al Heyman to court.
Well, that's because they deserved it.
The same.
That's because they deserved it. They yanked all these fighters out of Golden Boy.
That notwithstanding, though,
I don't want to.
We're not going to go into that. But look, they deserved
that's
it.
what I'm saying, though. But it's not the same. It's not. That's why I'm saying it's not the same.
It would be the same. It would be the same if Espinoza went ahead and sued Al Heyman, because now he's yanked all the fighters out of Showtime and moved them over to Fox. I mean, see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the majority of them. The majority of them.
Yeah. So I mean, he's shitting on Showtime now. So, I mean, the same thing he did to HBO, he's now doing to Showtime. He'll probably end up doing the same thing to Fox when that deal's over.
Like I said, it's not Bob sending people over to the zone, is willingly. So we can talk about quid pro quo all you want, but
here's the other part to that. Since you brought up Terrence Crawford, he signed a contract with ESPN.
He signed a contract. Cool. You got a contract.
What is Spence signed to? What is Danny Garcia signed to? What is Sean Porter signed to?
Nothing at all.
Okay, so what's the problem?
You don't let them walk over free.
Well, they're getting paid.
You do either a joint venture.
They're not going over there for free. They're getting paid to fight.
They're getting paid to fight.
Understandable.
They might get more than they've ever gotten.
Andy Ruiz got $7 million.
Right.
Andy Ruiz.
When did he get $7 million to fight for PBC, or even for Top Rank for that matter?
Hey, he got an opportunity. Al Heyman made it happen, and he got $7 million and 3 shots because of it. There you go.
And he's gonna get he's gonna get a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
for the
hopefully
rematch.
He deserves it.
Yeah, sure, he deserves it. But that's the upswing on all this. That's the chances you take. So send a Danny Garcia over to ESPN, where he's going to be seen by a lot more people than what Showtime is showing right now. But
how about Fox though?
Well, okay. How about
that's what I'm saying though. Like, people are forgetting about the Fox end of the deal.
But Danny Garcia is not signed to Fox.
You're over here talking about Showtime.
Danny Garcia is not
signed
to Fox.
This is the problem. This is one of the problems I have with people going up to would I go and fight Demetrius Andrade on the zone when Andrade can easily just come over to Fox and then just fight, and it'll be more eyes, more exposure on both of them. Why not that? Because like you said, these guys from PBC aren't bound to Showtime. If anything, they're bound to 2 networks. One of them gets you the optimum exposure, and then the other one gets you maybe not as much, but it gets you exposure as well. So why in the world would I go and fight Andrade on the zone when I know that nobody's going to watch the fight? When I know that no one has been able to provide me with analytics for boxing and showing me how many eyes are on the app for a boxing match at one time. But we can easily quantify that when we're talking about Fox. So that's what I'm saying. Why in the world? Why wouldn't you have a title unification fight on Fox, especially with the division as prestigious as the middleweight division? You bring Andrade over to Fox. Like, I don't understand why he has to go over, why Maul has to end up going to the zone. Well, no one's going to watch the fight. No one's going to watch that. No one's going to watch it. Hardly anybody watched it on Showtime. But I guarantee way less people watch Demetrius Andrade on the zone.
There are over 5 million subscribers to the zone, and these are not just casual subscribers. These are fans of sports. And this is worldwide.
It's also not all boxing.
This is worldwide.
All sports.
Yes, this is worldwide.
Right?
Yeah. And people watch it, Bellator. People watch
the zone is saying that 20% of that is boxing fans. Racing. Is boxing related.
People are watching,
So if you take that into consideration, then we're talking about 1 million viewers.
Many eyes
1 million viewers
at one time for somebody.
That means that 1 million viewers have signed up for boxing.
You're really gonna suggest.
Listen, I'm not saying that 1 million viewers were watching. I'm saying that 1 million viewers have signed up for boxing content. Worldwide, not just in the U.S. So what does that mean to us?
So if it was, let's say, 1/3 of that, it's about the same.
Yeah, and not even that. That doesn't mean that other fans they're not going to watch it.
If it's 1/3 of that, then it's about the same that Charlo drew on Showtime.
Yep,
that doesn't mean that the MMA fans.
What do we always talk about?
Listen, that doesn't mean that they're not going to cross platforms.
Go ahead.
Because there are MMA fans that joined the zone for Bellator, okay? And I've caught myself watching Bellator cards because I got done with boxing and there was a Bellator card and I started watching that. So you're going to have people crossing over sports to watch the boxing matches. So it's not unreasonable to think that at least 500,000 people watched it. It's not unreasonable when you have 5 million people who are sports fans in that app.
Let's do it like this. Now, we always talk about, and the thing is, we've said this for a long time. We've talked boxing for a long time. We always talk about casual appeal, bringing casuals over. You know what?
That would fit into the pay-per-view model, but not into the monthly subscription model.
With the thing, I'm looking at the potential numbers. You gotta look at that potential.
Make it a pay-per-view and call it a day.
There's no need to draw casual fans to the casual proposition works for pay-per-view. It's not that important for a monthly subscription because the casual fan that comes over is not going to keep a monthly subscription. They'll buy it and they'll leave. But that is more appropriate for the chat about pay-per-view numbers because they are going to drive pay-per-view numbers up. But that's not what the zone is looking for. The zone is looking to get the sports fans, just like ESPN is getting the sports fans by offering content specifically for sports fans. So they're really not, sure they don't mind putting out the $20 here. We'll give you the Canelo fight and another 4 cards for the casual fans. But they know that those fans are not going to stay. So they're going to provide content for guys, people like us in whatever particular sports they're opening. Now, by next year, I was reading they're going to be open in 20 markets. And if you look right now, if you just use $10 a month at 5 million subscriptions, that's $50 million a month. These guys are generating in revenue. That's
right.
300. That's what 50 million. That's
600 million.
$600 million right now a year in revenue that they're generating, so they can cover these deals they're making. And if they grow that market and they make it 6, 7, 10 million, if they make it 10 million, that's $100 million a month. That's $1.2 billion a year in revenue that they're going to have, and that's not focusing on casual fans. So So if Charlo came over to the zone, his target market is going to be looking at him, so he can get a better contract. Okay, so that then you start weighing, okay, do you want to get paid by pay-per-view or do you want to get paid by a contract? And you can balance that. Because if you're not doing good pay-per-view numbers, you're not getting paid very much, if anything.
Most definitely.
If Charlo and Andrade fought, I don't think either one of them care where they air the fight.
Right.
As long as they're getting the money they want to get.
As long as the money's right. Yep.
Right. So, you know what? Casual fans are not going to find it because it's on the zone or they didn't.
Yeah, but the fans that matter are going to find it and they're going to watch it.
Is there a better chance that people might stumble across it if it's on regular Fox? Sure. But I don't think they care. Make the fight.
Hey, make the fight. If you want to put it like that, make the fight.
Hopefully, you got the WBO champ. You show a couple of highlights. You've got the WBC champ. You show a couple of highlights. You flash that shit over Fox, and if it draws in a couple more casual fans, great. They're not names like it's not Pacquiao Mayweather. It's not even Anthony Joshua and Wilder at this point.
Yeah, right.
It's they're basically unknown.
And since they're basically unknown, I'm saying that's why you put it on Fox, because they're basically unknown.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because what does that do for them? A casual fan sees them and goes, "Oh, okay," and then they don't see him again for a while.
Well, I'm just saying though,
because they're not pay-per-view stars. It's not like the next fight's going to be a pay-per-view and suddenly all these casual fans are going to run to buy his fight. Right. So I'd rather him be on the zone, being seen by the fans that care about it, and him getting a larger contract in the zone that he would make even by doing a shitty pay-per-view with 300,000 views.
No, I'm not talking about a shitty pay-per-view. I'm not talking about a pay-per-view. You have them on network TV.
Well,
period.
on network TV, he's not going to make more than 10 million. About. He's not going to make more than 5 on regular TV.
And how much would he make with DAZN?
That's what I'm saying.
I'd be surprised if either one of them got $5 million.
Listen, if Jermall Charlo got knocked off one of the kingpins in DAZN, he's going to get offered a big contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get offered 100. He's a young kid. He's a young guy. He could be a franchise guy. He's going to get offered at least $100 million to come over. That is life-changing money. He's not going to get that in Fox. Okay? He's just not.
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's not.
So if they offer him $100 million, then it makes a lot of sense, because to DAZN it makes sense because it keeps the viewers paying that monthly money because they know they're going to see their fighter there.
But don't you think that he would get that same $100 million offer if he beat Andrade on on Fox?
No,
because DAZN would be. You don't think so? You don't think that DAZN would offer them? You don't think DAZN would offer him that money? Yeah, they'll
offer him that money to come over to DAZN, not to stay on Fox. But Fox won't offer him the money
to come over to DAZN.
Sure.
See, now you're killing two birds with one stone, because probably more people are watching you scuff up Andrade, and then you're actually getting your contract as well. Look, because now you have a belt. Now you can have the power play, and you can go ahead and I've thought about this. And I've thought about this,
and it would be a smart move for DAZN. I can agree with you to a certain extent. It would be a smart move for DAZN to go ahead and do a joint venture, say with Fox, not with Showtime, with Fox, and do a joint venture. Lend out Andrade, for example, to fight Charlo, but make sure that they plaster DAZN all over to get people, generate some interest in DAZN. Free advertising. Advertising.
No problem with that.
But at the same way,
I know that, you know what? As a matter of fact.
Go ahead. But in the same way, if that doesn't happen, if either Fox or DAZN's not willing to do that, either or, then there's nothing stopping Charlo from coming over for a fight or 2 or 3 or whatever on DAZN,
one fight deals,
and still getting offered a contract for big money if he wins. So
we'll see what happens, because two dudes in that division, the ones that everyone is chasing, Triple G and Canelo, they are notoriously hard to work with. So I mean that's fine, but easier said than done.
One calls all the shots, and the other one thinks he calls all the shots.
Right.
Well, listen,
they're both signed to big contracts. They're not going anywhere. You're going to have to bend to work with them.
I understand. You got to bend for them. But the thing is, though, it's no guarantee that you're going to get the fight under fair terms, of course.
Well, listen,
it's just not going to happen.
The fight with Golovkin will probably be on fairer terms than what you would get from Canelo.
Absolutely.
Listen,
absolutely.
Talking about fighters that call the shots and fighters that don't. We only have about 5 minutes left, so I wanted to talk about the fight that's coming up, the big fight that's coming up between Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. So, as I looked last night, the fight was even money, and as I looked recently, about 15-20 minutes ago,
an hour ago,
now Pacquiao's favorite in the fight.
So
this
he's minus 130, right? Minus 130, 135.
He's minus 130, and Keith is even right now. So he's gone. He's jumped over Keith, and this is money that's coming in the betting lines, and there's a surge in Pacquiao. Why is there a surge in Pacquiao? Is it just because of his history, or is it because of how he's looking in the training camp? Does it have to do with Thurman?
A lot of people are putting money on Pacquiao. I mean, that's just what it is, and I understand. I understand why there will be a lack of faith in Keith Thurman, especially based on his last fight and then his prior inactivity to that.
22 months.
Yeah, it was almost 2 years, man. You know, the injury history, him not seeming hungry, him making appearances on TV with the fat face.
What about all the reports that are coming out? I think David has a couple of clips he wanted to play.
Let me play something for you guys so you can hear it real quick and give me your thoughts on it. Hold on.
Maybe he's got problems with his knees right now, because that's why Sergio Martinez used to ride bike. He never ran.
I remember in the mountains.
The mountains. He used to do bike in the mountains
BMX,
every time
in the
riding
forest.
a bike. But it's because he couldn't run. So maybe Keith Thurman has problems with his knees. So maybe if he's doing that, then maybe Pacquiao should take advantage of it.
Okay, so there's something that I was talking about for a while now, but now I found this Robert Garcia interview where he's talking about the same thing, about thinking that it's kind of odd that Thurman is is bicycling to get in condition instead of jogging, which is what normal fighters do.
And Thurman has never been known for this.
No,
Right.
yeah, he's never been known for this.
And also I watched PBC Fight Camp like 2 days ago, and Thurman had made a lot of changes to not only his training camp, but the way he does things in camp and the people he brought in, new people. It's a complete overhaul. And usually when you do that when you're fighting a cab driver, so you can get used to that regimen, and then the next time out it's a little easier. And you're doing this going into a fight with Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't know if it was necessary. Maybe it was. I don't know if it works.
So
And it might backfire. It might be a bad idea to try to implement it now. Rather than maybe he could have done this before he fought Josecito Lopez, and then be in his second camp by doing all that. He brought in his aunt. He brought in an ex-NFL player who, excuse me, has a whole different training regimen. He's doing a whole bunch of new things, and now he's doing this bike instead of running. It just seems odd to do that all now,
especially with such an important fight for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
it's a big fight.
This is an important fight. This is an equivalent of maybe to a lesser degree, but an equivalent of a Floyd Mayweather fighting Oscar De La Hoya, or a Larry Holmes fighting an Ali, or it's kind of in the same realm. Not that Pacquiao is to the stature of an Ali, or Thurman to the stature of a Holmes, yeah. But
right.
It would catapult him into a position where he would then become the go-to opponent for Spence for a big pay-per-view.
Yep.
If he won this fight, because he would gain the recognition that he's lacking right now.
Yep.
So and the other thing I'll say is when the odds originally came out, let's say there has been a push lately because the fight's about 2.5 weeks away, and everybody knows Pacquiao. Casuals don't know Thurman.
Right.
There's a ton of just Pacquiao. They're not boxing fans. They're Pacquiao fans.
Right.
And they just go in and throw money, at a fight. And when the odds first came out, it was pretty close anyway. And that's Vegas. Right. That's before any push. And Vegas doesn't usually get it wrong.
They don't.
And not only that, but it's Pacquiao. I mean, he's let people down seldomly. Even Floyd says, he's just going to keep betting on Pacquiao because chances are he's going to win fights instead of losing them.
We've seen this before with when these old dogs. Look, I'm gonna tell you, Pacquiao should have retired after that Matisse fight. Go out on that note.
He should have
retired
after Mayweather.
Why do you think he's still fighting?
You know what? It doesn't matter. I think it's that check. I think he's chasing it. I think a part of him halfway loves it, which is fine. But man,
I think that's a big part of it. Manny likes money, and Manny likes fighting.
I think Pat gets hurt real bad in this fight. He gets hurt real bad.
You think Thurman knocks him out?
I think it's a very good chance that Thurman knocks him out. Okay. I don't like this fight at all for Pacquiao. And you know what, man? When Pacquiao loses, because I'm just gonna go ahead and put my neck out there right now. When Pacquiao loses, man, it's going to be so unfortunate because I don't like to see legends go down like this. We brought up Sugar Ray Leonard and Hector Camacho. I don't like to see stuff like that. Oscar De La Hoya, even though I hate him, and Manny Pacquiao, I don't like to see stuff like that. Like Ken Norton and Muhammad Ali. Come on, man. No one wants to see that.
Well,
and I think it's going to be on par with like those beatdowns.
On the flip side,
before
on
I
the
go
flip
put
side,
something
Corling.
out there like you're doing, before I go stick my neck out, hopefully we do another one right before the fight. We can make official predictions.
Right.
I will say this: I'm not going to be surprised if Pacquiao wins, and I'm not going to be surprised if he gets robbed. But I do not think, and I will be surprised if Keith Thurman has an easy night. That will surprise me.
Listen, let's look at the flip side.
Easy.
Let's look at the flip side real quick. Let's
ahead.
say that, considering the history of Pacquiao and the fights he's fought and the caliber of opponents he's had, if Pacquiao were to win this fight, how big of a win is this for Pacquiao at this point in his career?
Huge.
It would be huge.
Huge.
Big, but would have been bigger had they done this 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Well,
Thurman wouldn't have been ready 3-4 years ago. But
and then, you know what? Maybe when Thurman was supposed to be ready is within that 22 months where he was fucking around playing the flute.
Yeah, you're right. But this isn't gonna end good for Pacquiao. If Pacquiao wins, man, then that puts him. I mean, I can even see Pacquiao in like, top 25, top 30 all time. Like that dude, he's a legend already, man. He's a legend already. This puts Pacquiao in another stratosphere where he just elevates himself even more. Now, if he beats Thurman, he needs to retire, man, because look, we know who's waiting on him. We know who's waiting.
Well, they've said that they're not going to turn down that fight.
Man, don't do it. Pacquiao. If you end up listening to this show, don't do it. Don't do it, Pacquiao.
If Pacquiao wins and you're this confident in Keith Thurman, I want you to be this confident about Errol Spence.
Come on, dog. Don't do it. Pacquiao, don't do it, man. Don't do it.
If Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman said he would kneel down and bow in the middle of the ring after the fight to Pacquiao and say you're the greatest.
That's something that Keith Thurman would say, though.
He did say it. It was in an interview.
You know they bring that little gym bag with all this shit, the extra mouthpiece, and he better bring a pair of knee pads too.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen. I really think that Keith Thurman's gonna style on him, man. Look, I really think they're gonna rob Pacquiao. That's what I think. Oh my God, man! Like, what would be the point in even robbing Pacquiao? Because what makes more money is Errol Spence and Pacquiao anyway.
Listen,
so really.
We were talking about this earlier, and I haven't seen.
You got a guy at the end of his career, and then you have Thurman, who would elevate him and put him in a pay-per-view fight with Errol Spence.
Pacquiao is a walking ATM machine.
But listen.
Yeah, I know.
Thurman. We were talking about Thurman. Thurman has lost his aggressiveness since the Collazo fight, since the Luis Collazo fight, since he got touched to the body. He hasn't been the same. He hasn't been knocking out guys. He's been kind of gun shy, kind of boxing more. So I don't think he's going to go after Pacquiao. If he goes after Pacquiao, it's probably going to be even worse for him. So he's going to have to box.
If he got caught by Josecito Lopez and had his eyes all twisted, he's going to have a problem. I'm telling you.
That's why I don't think he's going to knock Pacquiao out, just because I don't think he's going to be. He's kind of lost that aggressiveness. He's gotten touched to the body by other guys too, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it at all.
How often does Pacquiao go to the body? I mean, I've seen. I said that. I could probably remember about 3 times that Pacquiao has gone to the body, and I'm like, okay.
Watch the last 2 fights he's had. He has gone to the body.
Yeah, but you know what? When you go to the body like that, you're also sacrificing that chin a little bit more. Man, it's not gonna be good.
Corley,
and you know what?
Look, what are you gonna say about Pacquiao if he wins this fight? What are you gonna say about Pacquiao?
The same thing I say about him right now. He's a straight up legend. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I can't really say anything about Pacquiao that's disparaging. That dude's a legend. It's just a bad style matchup when you're 41 years old or whatever. It's a bad style matchup, man. I don't like this fight for Pacquiao. Pacquiao should, if he wants to keep fighting, he should be fighting exhibitions against trash ass dudes like Lucas Matisse maybe a Josecito Lopez in there. You know, at
Conor
Broner, that
McGregor,
was a good fight.
Conor McGregor,
Yeah.
or
Right, like whatever. You know what Showtime likes to say, and
Oh, you
Jimmy
mean
Lennon
like-
Jr.
like-
It
like
drives
what
me
Floyd did?
crazy. Now, see, look, but look, it's the wording of it though. You know, Jimmy Lennon Jr. He drives me crazy when he says like a heavyweight special attraction. Like, come on, man. You know, it's not a title fight. It's not anything. It's a special attraction because the fight actually means nothing. That's what Pacquiao needs to be fighting. Look, man, this sets him up for absolute murder. If he does happen to get past Keith, you got an absolute animal waiting on you, Errol Spence Jr. Look, man, I just don't. I don't think Pacquiao's gonna make it past Keith.
Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. We got 2.5 weeks. Let's do another podcast. Let's really break it down and let's make some official predictions. And it'll be fun.
And with that, let's end this podcast for today and pick it up later on. And once again, thanks for listening to us. It's Quarreling, Joey, and Dave here at the Spartan Boxing Radio break. Saying goodbye.
Adios.
I'll let you go.